Game started.
Okay, Marcos. Let's play e4 and see what we get. Yeah, it was a Caro-Kann and a French. Let's see if we get normal e4, e4, e5. Marcos from Spain. Okay, the Petrov defense. Okay, I haven't seen one of those in this series. So the normal is chase the knight away and then grab the pawn with the move, yeah. So he took the pawn right away. There's a problem with this, I think, because of the move queen e2. And then you're putting some pressure on this guy. But maybe not. Let's see. If I just grab the knight, that's what it is. I grab the knight, and he can try and win my knight back. Like that. And I can defend it. Anyway, it's because of this that normally the knight is chased away before grabbing the pawn. Let's see, what to do now? If I take the knight, he takes the queen with check, so that's right out. Now he's going to recapture the knight. The only question is, do I get to keep a pawn here? If pawn takes, knight takes. So I could try and be greedy. Yeah, why not? Let's try and hold on to that pawn. It is a pawn, after all. Okay, so he's attacking it multiple times, and my queen is not defended, so I still can't move the knight. So, yeah, I guess if I wanted to keep it, I would have had to, if I wanted to keep the pawn, I would have had to defend it with a move like f4, instead of bishop to f4, pawn to f4. But I'm going to just develop and castle and do that kind of good stuff here. Is this bishop loose? Knight takes. Yeah, I think I need to defend the bishop, which incidentally defends my queen, frees my knight to move. So he's finally forced to take. And I think I should take back with the pawn. Okay, so he grabs there. I can take the bishop or take the knight. Is there a check? If bishop takes, knight takes, queen here, check. The knight comes back and he picks up a pawn. So I think I need to take the bishop. And then I don't really need to take the queen. So he was able to salvage his material after all. I could have grabbed another pawn over there on c7, I guess. Castle's queenside. Okay, so if I take his queen and then play knight to b5 here, it forks those two pawns. And what has he got? He can't attack the bishop with the knight anyway. Maybe he plays the pawn up and chases me to that square, and then I can't actually ever get out. The knight ends up being trapped. Okay, let's try something simple. How about a mate threat with queen to c4, threatening mate. He just moves the knight, attacking the queen. Pretty simple, and not very much happening. Okay, queen all the way over to a4. It's on a light square, so his bishop can't harass it. The knight can go there and harass it, but I can grab a pawn over here. And maybe with my knight coming forward, I can harass his queen, and not his queen, I can harass his king here a little bit. I can also bring my pieces out to harass his queen, so let's just go for development. Now, is knight, knight to b5 is still possible here. Knight b5, pawn takes knight, queen here is mate. so I could play that. But he could attack my queen with knight here, and then I move my queen, and then he takes my knight. So knight to b6 refutes knight b5, I think. Now there's also knight to d5, hitting the queen. And if his knight moves there to attack my queen, I can take it and maybe mess up his pawns a bit. If his knight moves there to harass my queen, well, actually, if his knight moves anywhere to harass my queen, I take his queen with check. And then he has to retake it, then I can move my queen. So he would have to move his queen after knight d5. And I am threatening here. Where is his queen going? Looks like I'm winning the c7 pawn there. Because after the queen moves, I can just play knight takes c7. And opening up this diagonal would be great for my long-term attacking prospects. So anyway, I think this game was an example of how not to play the Petrov, or why you don't play it that way. But I'll look at it in the postmortem and see what the precise refutation is. Okay, so he went there, hitting my knight, which I was planning to take on c7 anyway. And is the knight getting trapped there? Possibly, but I can play my rook over to try and secure the knight a square. Or I can think of now, what does this accomplish? It attacks my queen. Is he going somewhere else? Maybe here to trap my knight. Let's see, I don't want to go to this square because the knight will move with tempo, because the bishop attacks the queen through the knight after the knight moves. Let's see, so I could go here, staying on this diagonal. And it might be useful to continue to support that. And he can't attack my queen again with the knight. And if I chase the knight away, I'm wondering if there's an idea of sacrificing the knight here. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. And that's actually pretty dangerous because the bishop covers those squares, the queen covers those squares. I just need to cover this square here, and I've got a crisscross mate there. So maybe rook here and the knight there is an idea. But he can retake with the knight. So pawn to he's just going to take the queen. I mean, take the bishop. So if I want to do this now, knight takes, knight takes, pawn takes, check. Yeah, it's not good enough. Okay, I need to try and save my knight somehow. How can I do this? Queen here, check. He can't block. He can block with the queen or the rook, but not with the knight.
Check.
And in either case, I can take the knight. Well, that was a bit lucky, I have to admit. But, you know, I had all my pieces out. Sometimes you have to have faith in your position there that the tactics are going to work out in your favor. Actually, I didn't have all my pieces out. My two rooks are not playing, so. But my pieces were well positioned. His bishop has not yet been developed. And, yeah, so it looks like I got away with that pawn snag. So if the king moves, you know, he's setting himself up for a terrible discovery to check. Also, I could just take the knight. And if he blocks, the only pieces he can block with are the rook or the queen. So probably rook is most logical. I take his knight, then he can take my knight, and I can take his rook, and he can take back. And after that, I will be up the exchange because I'll have two rooks, and he'll just have a rook and a bishop. Now, instead of grabbing the knight right away after rook to d7, I could, that's a pinned rook, so I could attack it again with my rook. But then he could grab the bishop. So this is probably not as good because he's not really threatening to take my knight there, and I'll just stay a piece up. Well, maybe bishop here will trap the knight. Bishop there, bishop takes, queen takes. The knight can still escape through the square e6. I don't think he's getting that knight. Oh, maybe he is. Okay. Still, let's set up some kind of discovered attack. This is a neat tactic, by the way. This double pawn push is one of the underrated tactics because you push the pawn once and the queen has to move, and then you push it again, trapping the bishop. So very, very nice tactic. Okay, now is there a kamikaze move that the bishop has? So I don't see it. So queen here, pawn there, and then I can move that knight with check. And then he can take the bishop. It looks like I'll remain some pawns up. I won't be pieces up, but I'll be pawns up. So, for example, I could play knight takes a6 with check. Is there anything better? Knight here, here, here. After the knight move with check, the king is going to have to go to this square. But knight here with check is devastating because
Time warning.
it covers
Check.
the escape square of the king. So the king can't move. So he has to block. Oh no, he can. It's not devastating. He can block with the queen here. Okay, then I'll have to exchange queens. Then I could take this pawn. Unless there's another check somewhere. I don't see it. Okay, take the queen.
Check.
And take the pawn. And so I've got a knight versus a bishop, two rooks. and 3 pawns up, because I'll have 6 pawns and he'll have 3. And his king is still exposed. I just have to make sure my knight gets home safely somehow. But he's got a square or 2 he can go to. Maybe just yeah, pawn to b4, securing the square c5 for the knight. If I played pawn to a3, he could have pushed on to c5 and tried to shut out my knight again. So I think this is the most accurate way of saving the knight. And then I can get the knight over here and start pushing this pawn. Maybe even think of making a queen. Yeah, so he can win a pawn. If I play my knight there right away. He can do that too. Okay. Isn't that a bit dangerous here? I can attack the rook. This pawn is defended. By the knight still. So bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, knight takes. Yeah. So now, let's just give him the pawn and then start pushing this one. No sense in giving away too much. So my 3 pawn advantage is down to 2, but I do have. I needed to create some space for my king there. Yeah, maybe I should have played. Maybe I should have played h4 to stop that push. h5, h4. He can take, I take, he takes, I take, he takes with check. So he wins a pawn here. Annoyingly. Well, I was low on time and was moving too quickly.
Check.
Looks like he was a step late in getting to the defense of that pawn. Maybe he was counting on this move to round up that pawn. King over, pawn there, queen, check, king takes or rook takes, or if king takes, then rook takes here, and I'm a rook up. Still, he's just one step too far away. His king needed to be in front of it or something.
Check.
And you just walk towards the rook to end the checks. If he checks here, I'll just go to that square. And then there's no more checks. So, but I did let it get unnecessarily close towards the end there. Could have played more precisely, but I wasn't. I was short on time and I was moving quickly.
Black resigns.
Okay, well, I thought that was an interesting game. I'm going to upload this and do a post-mortem as usual. See you guys later. Bye.